Now, before we start today's video, I do have to say that if MI5 is watching, I swear to God, this isn't a video on how to break into Buckingham Palace, but more so talking about the time that someone has actually broken into the palace before. Twice. Hello! Welcome to Brain Spill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and just to figure out how weird of an occurrence this is, we need to talk about the security of Buckingham Palace. Now, as most of you will likely know if you've ever visited the typical tourist destinations in London, Buckingham Palace is a royal residency and administrative headquarters for the monarchy of the United Kingdom, where for some time each year the Queen or the current reigning monarch may reside. Both the royal family and property such as Buckingham Palace are protected by these guys, the Royal Guard, and there's a common misconception that they're not allowed to move whilst on station, which is completely untrue. They can absolutely move, and their primary purpose is to protect the Queen, the royal family and its property. So let's say if someone, decided to try and scale the gates to enter the palace, they would royally fuck you up. These guys are very well trained and will bayonet your ass if you're considered a threat. These guys are very literally round-the-clock protection, and with the help of the local police, for anyone that wanted to try and break into the palace, it's a pretty tall order. Well, that's the cue for our man named Michael Fagan, a 32-year-old local man, after having been in the pub one evening in 1982, thought it would be a grand old time to go and pay a visit to Buckingham Palace. His wife had apparently recently left him, so I suppose if you've got nothing better to do with your evening once the pubs close, then I guess why not go for a late night visit, eh? He apparently scaled the barbed wire topped 14-foot wall and managed to shimmy himself up a drain pipe to enter the palace. Yes, it was really as simple as that. And it does make you wonder how on earth he managed to slip past the security and get into the palace without anyone noticing. According to Fagan, he had climbed into the palace and eventually found himself in the bedroom of the Queen. The Queen. Looking straight back at him. Now, if you imagine a middle-aged drunk man climbing through your bedroom window at night, I'd be pretty afraid too. Michael went on to admit later on that he had no ill intention by this, however, and it almost seemed like he did it just to prove a point. He said that as a matter of fact, he actually had great respect for the Queen, so much in fact that you decided to climb through her bedroom window in the middle of the night. It was first reported that Michael Fagan and the Queen had a long conversation for several minutes before her security arrived. However, according to Michael in a later interview, that's not actually how it went. How it actually went was as soon as the Queen saw a random stranger climb through her bedroom window, she ran like the wind, and you know what, if I was in her situation, I would have done the same thing. So when in Rome or in the palace of the Queen, you decided it would be a great idea to go on a tour, wandering the halls and rooms for some time and taking it all in. Because somehow he'd managed to do this without being tackled by 10 guards. Apparently, he wandered around the palace triggering the alarm twice, only for the police to turn it off, thinking it was a mistake. Great work, guys. Absolutely outstanding work there. I was walking barefoot through the palace, and there was a woman doing the hoovering. She didn't say anything, she just looked at me and must have thought I was part of the palace staff. I didn't know what I wanted to ask her, and when I got there, I was just shaking and so shocked. Clearly, she never got close enough to him to notice that he likely stank of booze after spending an all-nighter in the pub before. Before the police arrived, an unarmed footman came and stood watch, commenting the following when he first encountered Michael. "Cool, fucking hell mate, you look like you need a drink." Stinking of booze, as you might imagine, he decided it would be a swell idea to distract him and take him down to the pantry to go get him a drink. Of course, this worked like a charm. That is the perfect way that you'd handle such a situation. I mean, if you were going to try and arrest him there and then, you have no idea what this man's capable of. So, why not just give him what he wants? Give him a glass of whiskey and wait for the police to arrive to do the rest. What a perfect distraction. I would have personally allowed him to pet the corgis if it was me, but at the end of the day, the police were just around the corner. So yes, he was arrested and he appeared at the Old Bailey, but was never actually charged for trespass. Mainly because this would involve the Queen having to be a witness to the matter, and she has much more important things to be doing with her time than turning up to court to testify against a drunk man who climbed through her window. So he got off scot-free. And what's even stranger about this is you'd think that maybe they'd tighten up their security a little bit to stop this from happening again. Well, no, because he actually went a second time and managed to get inside the palace again. And as you might imagine, the royal guard probably got a massive bollocking the first time he got in, and got an even bigger one the second time he got in, almost like he couldn't stay away. The first time he did this on his account happened a month prior to the time I just told you about, where he'd apparently shimmied his way up the drain pipe like he did before, and he said he spent half an hour eating cheddar cheese crackers and wandering around the halls again, tripping several alarms. He said he was wandering about passing Diana and Charles's rooms, but what he was really looking for was a toilet. Unable to find one, he apparently peed in the corgi food. Lovely stuff. Michael would even go on to admit that apparently in his first visit, he even went to go and sit on the throne and drank half a bottle of stolen booze before deciding to leave the premises. All in a day's work. So, after his arrest in the second incident, the only charge they could bring against him was for theft of the stolen bottle of wine that he had, allegedly the first time he was in. However, they didn't actually press ahead with this because they decided that a psychological evaluation may be a better spend of time, given the kind of things he's been doing. I mean, I don't think most people would try and break into the palace in the early hours of the morning just because you were interested in seeing what it's like inside. So yeah, he was taken to a hospital for 6 months to undergo a psychological assessment. His own mother even commented on this and gave somewhat of an explanation behind his actions. He thinks so much of the Queen. I can imagine him just wanting to simply talk and say hello and discuss his problems. Oh, that's kind of cute actually. You just want to talk to the nice old lady about your problems, almost like your nan. Well, the difference here is that she's not your nan. She's the head of state for 16 countries. Partly the reason why nothing was actually done about this was that at the time it was only a civil wrong instead of an actual crime to trespass onto property. That was until 2007 when the law was changed under the Serious Organised Crime and Police Act, where it was recognised as a criminal offence to trespass on a designated site, with Buckingham Palace being one of them. It's hard to know if everything that Michael said was true. However, what we do know is true is that he did get inside, and that everything that happened in the second incident, there's witnesses for it. So, it's very likely that he did everything he claimed the first time he went into the property. This isn't the only person to try and enter the palace, however, as there's been a more recent attempted break-in in 2019. The Metropolitan Police made the following statement after arresting a man who was found trying to climb and scale the palace walls. Officers have arrested a man on suspicion of trespass, contrary to Section 128 of the Serious Organised Crime and Police Act 2005. The 22-year-old man was arrested at approximately 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday the 10th of July by officers from the Met's Royalty and Specialist Protection Command after he climbed over the front gates of Buckingham Palace. The man was not found in possession of any offensive weapons, and the incident is not being treated as terrorist-related. He remains in custody at the Central London Police Station. So, as strange as this story is, a word of advice for you guys. If you ever decided that you wanted to go ahead and do something like this, how about you just don't? And maybe get a hobby instead, something else to preoccupy your time. So yeah, that's the time that a guy decided to break into Buckingham Palace and peed on the corgi food and stole a bottle of wine. What a story to tell. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. Next time I'm in London going out on the night, I might just take it easy on the drinking because I don't want to be the next guy that gets caught trying to scale the palace walls because I get too pissed to know what I'm doing. So, you know what, I might just have a few waters every now and again. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.
Thank you.